The last signal from Earth. The Galactic Council chamber was alive with confusion. Dozens of alien delegates shouted over each other as the transmission repeated again and again. The voice was human, rough, steady, filled with anger. You asked for peace, but what you gave us was chains. You wanted obedience. What you have unleashed is fury. The message echoed across the vast chamber, bouncing from crystalline walls and shimmering screens. Delegates stared at one another, their faces pale, scales twitching, antennae trembling. Humans were not supposed to speak like this. They were supposed to be quiet, weak, easily conquered. The Zelnari High Speaker slammed his clawed hand on the table. This is impossible. Earth was pacified decades ago. Their fleets were dismantled. Their people accepted assimilation. How can they broadcast across half the galaxy? No one had an answer. The holoscreens shifted. Behind the human voice appeared the image of Earth. The blue planet still turned beneath its clouds, oceans and continents shining against the blackness of space. Yet something was wrong. Great scars marked the land. Cities were broken. Smoke still rose from the surface as if war had never truly ended. The Council had promised Earth peace. The humans had been told they would join a greater civilization. They had been promised protection, technology, prosperity. What the Council delivered instead was occupation. Their fleets stood guard over human skies. Their armies marched in human streets. And then, silence. Earth had gone dark for 50 years. Not a single broadcast, not a single signal, nothing. Until now, the voice returned. This time deeper, colder. We are not your servants. We are not your cattle. You mistook silence for surrender. You mistook patience for weakness. You mistook humanity for prey. The delegates froze. Their translators confirmed every word. The meaning was clear. Humanity was declaring war. Suddenly alarms rang across the chamber. The defense screens lit up with red warnings. Outside the neutral system of Arnos, ships were appearing. Dozens at first, then hundreds. Enormous shadows unfolded from the void, slipping out of hidden space. The council members rose in shock. Some fell back into their seats, their eyes locked on the impossible sight. Human warships. These were not the fragile, outdated vessels the council had once seized. These were giants. Dark hulls, plated in strange alloys, glowing with red engines that cut across the stars. Towering dreadnoughts led the formation, flanked by long-speared cruisers and winged carriers. Their silhouettes blotted out suns. Their sheer size rivaled anything the galaxy had ever built. How can this be? The High Speaker whispered. His voice cracked, his mandibles trembling. They had nothing. They were broken, but the evidence floated in front of them. The humans had not been broken. They had been preparing. The broadcast continued, now showing rows of soldiers. Human men and women stood in black armor, rifles in hand, eyes hard with purpose. Their faces were scarred, their voices silent. Behind them, banners flew not with the Council's crest, but with Earth's own symbol, a blue world encircled by steel wings. The message resumed, sharper than before. You came to us with promises. You came to us with peace. But your peace was conquest. You thought we would beg. You thought we would kneel. We chose to wait. We chose to watch. We chose to build. The delegates looked to one another in horror. If this was true, then humans had been preparing for 50 years in secret, right under the Council's watch. Entire fleets had been forged without a single signal escaping. Entire armies had been trained in silence. The chamber shook as the humans' first move arrived. A massive warship, larger than anything on record, broke from the formation. Its weapons glowed. Power surged through its core. Then, without warning, it fired. The beam crossed the void like a blade of light. It struck a Council defense station, orbiting the neutral moon of Deathros. The station was armed with planetary shields and could resist almost any fleet in the galaxy. In a single strike, it was gone. Shattered into burning fragments, drifting into nothing, the chamber fell silent. No one moved. No one spoke. The only sound was the human voice, calm and steady. We will not kneel. We will not vanish. We are humanity. And this is our final broadcast. The screens went black. For a long moment, the Council sat frozen. Then voices erupted again, louder than before. Orders were shouted. Fleets were summoned. Messages were sent across the stars. But behind every word, behind every command, there was fear. Humanity was back, and they were not the same as before. The Council in shock. The Galactic Council chamber had never known fear like this. Delegates from 50 species shouted across the floor, their voices sharp, trembling, desperate. Hollow screens replayed the human broadcast on every wall. The words rang out like a curse. You asked for peace, but what you gave us was chains. You wanted obedience. What you have unleashed is fury. The Zelnari High Speaker stood in the center of the chamber, his scaled body shaking with rage. He pointed a clawed hand toward the images of human fleets now orbiting the neutral moon. This is not possible. Earth had no industry left. Their shipyards were dismantled. Their resources stripped. How can such fleets exist? His voice cracked at the end. Even he did not believe his own words. The screens shifted again, showing the human dreadnought that had just destroyed a council defense station with a single shot. Its massive hull bristled with weapons, glowing like the heart of a dying star. Smaller ships flanked it, fast and deadly, moving with precision that no alien fleet could match. Across the chamber, the Serathi delegate rose, her long wings folded tight against her back. We underestimated them. Humans are different. They grow stronger in fire. What we tried to destroy has only forged them. A silence fell. Even her enemies could not deny the truth. Then the arguments began again. Some demanded the immediate extermination of Earth. Others warned against provoking further human retaliation. And a few, just a few, whispered the unthinkable. Perhaps the humans could not be defeated at all. The holoscreens flickered once more. This time the feed showed Earth itself. The blue planet still burned with scars. Great cities lay in ruins. Vast craters marked where orbital strikes had once fallen. But through the smoke the truth was clear. Humanity had survived. Humanity had rebuilt. The broadcast shifted again, showing soldiers. Thousands of them. Human men and women marched in black armor, rifles gleaming, eyes hard and cold. They did not smile. They did not wave. They marched in silence as if nothing could stop them. The Dresden delegate hissed in disbelief. They are supposed to be fractured, divided, fighting each other like before, but there was no division in what they saw. These soldiers moved as one. They obeyed orders without hesitation. They carried themselves like veterans, not recruits. They had not been conquered. They had been hardened. The High Speaker slammed his claw again. Enough. They have shown us a few ships, nothing more. We still hold the greater fleet. Our stations, our weapons, our power. Humanity cannot hope to challenge us. His words were brave, but his eyes betrayed doubt. Across the chamber, a young envoy from the smaller races spoke timidly. With respect, Speaker, they already destroyed a fortress station in one strike. That was not a display of weakness. That was a warning. The words cut through the noise like a blade. The delegates looked back to the screens. There, above the neutral world, the human fleet grew larger as more ships decloaked from hidden space. Dozens became hundreds. Hundreds became thousands. The chamber froze. 50 years of silence had not been surrender. It had been preparation. The Serathi delegate leaned forward, her voice calm but heavy. We thought they would beg. We thought they would fall. We were wrong. They will not stop now. The holofeed shifted one final time. The human broadcast returned. This time the image was not of Earth or fleets. It was a single figure. His face was shadowed. His voice was steady. We never wanted war. We wanted peace. But your peace was a lie. You burned our cities. You killed our children. You demanded our submission. We gave you silence. And in that silence we built. The chamber was silent. Even the High Speaker did not speak. Then the figure leaned closer to the feed. His eyes glowed in the shadows. His words were cold as iron. Now we bring you war. Not because we desire it, but because you left us no choice. The broadcast ended. The screens went black. For a long moment no one moved. The weight of the words pressed down on every delegate, every ambassador, every leader. The galaxy had thought humanity weak. Instead, They had awakened something far worse. Then the alarms rang again. The Council's defense grid lit up with warnings. Human ships were on the move, not fleeing, not hiding, advancing straight toward the Council's borders. The fury of survival. The human fleet moved through space like a storm. Dark hulls glowed with red engine trails, their shadows covering entire moons as they advanced. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. In the council chamber, alien eyes watched in disbelief. Tactical feeds poured in from scouts and hidden satellites. Every new image told the same story. Humanity was no longer broken. Humanity had returned with fury. On the holoscreen, human soldiers stood in endless lines. Their black armor reflected firelight. Their faces were stern, their eyes sharp. These were not civilians drafted in panic. These were veterans forged by war and years of silent struggle. The Sarathi delegate spoke first, her voice a whisper. They trained for this. They were waiting for this moment. The Drizen delegate hissed back. Waiting where? Our patrols saw nothing. Our scanners found nothing. How could they hide entire fleets? The answer came on the screen. The human broadcast resumed. A low voice carried across the chamber, filled with calm strength. You burned our world, and yet we endured. You starved us, and yet we fed ourselves. You thought Earth was silent, but Earth was listening. You thought we were finished, but we were preparing. Images filled the screens. Not polished propaganda. Real footage. Human workers building ships in hidden asteroid belts. Vast shipyards disguised as shattered moons. Underground foundries dug deep beneath the ruins of old cities. In silence, without transmitting a signal, humanity had built an arsenal beyond anything the Council had imagined. The delegates leaned closer to the screens. The sight of it chilled them more than the words. These were not borrowed ships, not scavenged relics. They were human creations. Brutal, efficient, designed for one purpose, survival through fury. The broadcast cut again. A single warship hovered in view, larger than any dreadnought in galactic record. Its name was written in bold white letters along its black hull, Retribution. When the ship moved, entire fleets followed. Its presence alone sent shockwaves of fear through the chamber. The High Speaker finally spoke, his claws trembling. They will be crushed. Their rage cannot overcome our numbers. For every one of their ships, we have 10. But even as he spoke, the feed shifted to show the aftermath of the humans' first strike. The destroyed Council Defense Station drifted in ruins, glowing fragments spinning into space. One shot had ended it. One ship had accomplished what even rival fleets could not. The Sarathi delegate's wings unfolded slowly, her eyes fixed on the images. 10 of our ships will not matter if one of theirs can destroy 10 in a breath. The chamber fell silent again. Then the broadcast resumed one final time. This time the voice was deeper, colder, almost personal. You thought survival made us weak. You thought suffering broke us. You do not understand. Survival gave us strength. Suffering gave us fury. Humanity does not die quietly. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity rises. The image shifted. A single shot fired from the Retribution. Not at a station this time. At a planet. The council chamber erupted in screams. The beam struck the surface, not to destroy the world, but to carve a message across its continents. From orbit, the words could be read clearly by every eye. We are still here. The planet shook but remained intact. The message was not destruction. It was a warning, a promise. Back in the chamber, the delegates fell into chaos again. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others begged for negotiation. But fear spread faster than orders. Humanity had shown not only strength but control. They could destroy, yet they chose to send a message. That frightened the council more than any fleet. The High Speaker turned to the screens once more, forcing his voice to steady. If they want war, then war is what they will have. We will burn Earth to ash. We will erase them this time, but his words rang hollow. Every delegate saw it. Every delegate heard the doubt. The feed suddenly flickered again, though no one had activated it. The human broadcast returned one last time. The shadowed figure appeared again, his voice low but sharp as steel. We never wanted war, but you have forced our hand. Do not mistake mercy for weakness. The next time we fire, there will be no warning. The screen went black. Alarms filled the chamber instantly. Scouts reported new human movements. Fleets were advancing at full speed, not toward a neutral world this time, not toward empty systems. They were heading straight for the Council's frontier colonies, broken promises. The council chamber trembled with anger and fear. Delegates shouted until their voices broke. Reports streamed in from the frontier. Human fleets were moving fast, striking with precision, bypassing defenses, as if they knew the council's strategies in advance. How can they know our routes? The Drezan delegate hissed, his scaled body coiled with rage. Our patrol schedules are classified. Our codes are unbreakable. The Serathi delegate's wings twitched uneasily. Unless we gave them those codes ourselves. Unless someone on this council betrayed us. The chamber fell into stunned silence. Betrayal inside the council was unthinkable. Yet how else could humanity strike so perfectly, hitting weak points no outsider should know? The Zelnari High Speaker stood tall, forcing his voice to carry. Do not be blinded by fear. Humanity is clever, but they are not gods. They steal, they copy. That is all. They cannot outmatch the entire galaxy, but even as he spoke, the hollow screens displayed scenes that silenced him. Images showed human fleets overwhelming outposts. Alien cruisers broke under coordinated fire. Carriers that had stood for centuries were turned to burning wrecks. Humans fought with ruthless efficiency, no wasted motion, no hesitation. Their ships struck like blades. Their soldiers boarded enemy vessels without fear. On one feed, a squad of human marines stormed a Zelnari frigate. Black armor glinted under emergency lights. The aliens fought desperately, but the humans moved like shadows, clearing every corridor with practiced discipline. When the bridge fell, the Marine commander stood before the defeated crew. His words were simple. Remember this. We never begged for peace. You forced it on us, and now you pay the price. The feed cut, leaving the chamber in uneasy silence. The Serathi delegate leaned forward, her eyes narrow. Do you not see, Speaker? We lied to them. We promised peace, but we brought chains. We swore protection, but gave only oppression. Every broken promise has turned into their weapon, the High Speaker snarled. They are nothing but savages clinging to old wounds, yet his claws dug into the table, betraying his fear. The screens shifted again. This time, the human broadcast returned. A single figure filled the hollow. His face was still shadowed, his voice calm and deadly. You offered us peace, but peace was your lie. You offered us protection, but protection was your trap. You thought you could break us. You thought you could erase us. But you only gave us time. The figure stepped forward into the light for the first time. His face was scarred, his eyes cold. The chamber gasped. He was no ordinary soldier. He was an officer. A commander. I am Admiral Elias Kane, he said. Fleet commander of Earth's Retribution Armada. And I am here to remind you of every promise you broke. The delegates whispered furiously. Some shouted for his signal to be jammed, but the feed was too strong, cutting through every defense as if human technology had surpassed their own. Admiral Kane continued. You swore to leave our people free. Instead, you occupied our cities. You swore to protect our children. Instead, you left them to starve. You swore to guide us. Instead, you sought to erase us. These are the promises you broke. And for every broken promise, there will be a price. The broadcast cut to the view of a burning frontier colony. Alien ships floated in ruins, while human vessels stood unharmed. Civilians fled in panic as human ground forces advanced with terrifying precision. Admiral Kane's voice carried over the images. We never wanted war, but you built it for us. You wrote it into every lie, every chain, every broken word. You are the authors of your own ruin. The feed ended, plunging the chamber into silence once again. Delegates looked to one another, shaken. The Serathi delegate's voice finally broke the silence. We may not be able to defeat them, not if they have truly risen together. Humanity is no longer divided. They fight as one. The High Speaker slammed his claws down, his voice cracking. Then we will burn their world to ash. Earth will be wiped from the stars. If they love their home so much, let them watch it die. Murmurs filled the chamber. Many were horrified, but fear pushed them toward agreement. Orders were drafted. A plan formed. The extermination of Earth would be declared. As the chamber roared with debate, new alarms sounded. The feeds flickered. Scouts reported massive energy readings from the human fleet. The Retribution was charging weapons again. The chamber fell silent. Every eye fixed on the screens. Admiral Kane's voice returned one last time. You want Earth? Then come for it. But know this. Earth is no longer your prey. Earth is your executioner. The screen cut to black, and then the Retribution fired. Humanity's war doctrine. The blast from the Retribution lit the void like a newborn sun. Alien defense fleets scattered, blinded by the fury of its guns. Yet when the light faded, the world it targeted was still standing. Humanity had not destroyed it. They had carved another warning into its surface. Across its continents, the fire left a single mark visible from orbit. 2 words burned across oceans and land. Never again. The council chamber fell into stunned silence. For the second time, humanity had shown restraint. They could annihilate, yet they chose to mark. That restraint carried more terror than destruction. The Serati delegate whispered what others feared to say. They are teaching us. They are showing us they could kill us at any moment, but they choose not to. That is doctrine. That is strategy. Reports continued to flood in. Every human move followed a pattern. They never wasted ships. They never fought without purpose. They struck supply lines, crippled communication hubs, erased fleets guarding the frontier. Yet they spared civilian populations more often than not. Humanity fought with ruthless calculation. In the chamber, the Dresden delegate hissed, his scales rigid with fear. They fight like they have read every page of our war manuals. They know our tactics before we use them. How is this possible? No one answered. But deep inside, many already suspected the truth. The human broadcast returned. This time, Admiral Elias Kane stood in full view. His scarred face was illuminated, his voice sharp and steady. We know your fleets. We know your strategies. We know your weapons. Do you wonder how? You gave us the knowledge yourselves. Every time your envoys walked our halls. Every time your ships occupied our skies, every time your soldiers trampled our cities, we watched, we remembered, and we learned. The delegates stared in disbelief. Humanity had studied the council for 50 years in silence. Every weakness, every habit, every detail had been turned into strength. The admiral raised a hand, and the broadcast shifted to tactical feeds. Human warships outmaneuvered alien formations with perfect precision. Squadrons cut through larger fleets like blades. Alien captains fell into ambush after ambush, their predictable maneuvers exploited by human discipline. This is our doctrine, Kane declared. To turn every wound into a weapon, every scar into strength, every lie into truth. You thought you controlled us, but your control was our teacher. Your occupation was our academy. You built the enemy you now face. The council chamber shook with outrage. Delegates shouted, demanding retaliation, demanding the extermination of humanity. But beneath the fury, fear spread like wildfire. They had created this enemy themselves. The Serati delegate's wings unfolded slowly, her voice calm but grim. Do you not see? They are no longer a species fighting for survival. They are a force shaped by survival. They are not prey. They are predators. As if to prove her words, the broadcast showed human boarding actions. Marines stormed alien dreadnoughts, their movements precise and merciless. Alien defenders fell in minutes. Yet when the battles ended, something unexpected happened. Humanity did not kill every survivor. Captured crews were released, sent back with a message carved into their ship hulls. Tell them we are coming. The chamber erupted again. Some called this barbaric. Others saw it for what it was, psychological war. Humanity was spreading fear faster than their fleets spread destruction. Admiral Kane's voice returned, colder than before. Do not mistake mercy for weakness. We could have ended your colonies. We could have shattered your worlds. But we will not yet. We want you to watch. We want you to understand what it means to face the fury of humanity. His words froze the chamber. Then, without warning, the broadcast cut to a scout's final transmission. A Dresden patrol had intercepted a hidden human convoy. The aliens thought it a weak target. But the feed showed something terrifying. The convoy was no supply line. It was a mobile shipyard hidden in an asteroid cluster. Entire dreadnoughts were under construction, half-built hulls stretching like skeletal giants across space. The humans were not only fielding fleets, they were still building more. The Dresden delegate hissed in terror. This is impossible. No world, no system could build fleets at this speed. Admiral Kane's voice answered through the transmission, almost as if he had been waiting for that question. You do not understand us. Earth was only the beginning. We have spread to the belts, to the moons, to the void itself. Every rock, every shadow, every hidden world is ours. We are everywhere, and you will never stop us. The transmission ended. The chamber was silent again. But this time, there was no shouting, no debating, no denial. For the first time in memory, the council sat in absolute fear. Then the alarms rang. New reports flashed across the hollow screens. Human fleets were not just advancing, they were converging. Their target was clear, a council stronghold system, the largest fortress outside the core. A place thought untouchable. The chamber froze. Every delegate knew what it meant. Humanity was not just striking colonies. Humanity was ready for its first great clash. The first clash, the Council Fortress system of Arvanis, was built to be invincible. Its orbit held 10 defense stations, each the size of a moon. Its skies were thick with fleets from dozens of species. Its ground bristled with planetary cannons that could pierce any dreadnought's hull. For centuries, no enemy had dared to challenge it, until now, the warning sirens screamed across every channel. Human fleets had entered the system, first in dozens, then in hundreds, then in waves so vast that the stars themselves seemed to vanish behind black hulls. From the fortress command tower, Admiral Trelvac of the Dresden Confederacy watched in disbelief. His mandibles clicked nervously as tactical screens filled with red markers. "This cannot be," he muttered. "They're outnumbered 10-1. This will be their end." But deep down, even he did not believe it. Across the chamber, council commanders barked orders. Formations shifted. Battleships advanced. Fighters swarmed from carriers like clouds of metal insects. The fortress prepared for war. Then the humans moved. They advanced in silence, fleets holding perfect formation. At the center, the dreadnought Retribution led the charge, its engines burning like the heart of a star. Behind it, smaller cruisers spread in patterns unfamiliar to the Council. These were not the rigid, predictable lines of alien doctrine. This was something else, something faster, something sharper. The battle began with fire. Alien fleets unleashed their guns, beams and missiles streaking through space. The void lit up with enough power to shatter worlds. Human ships should have fallen in minutes. Yet they did not. The humans moved as one. Their ships twisted and dived with uncanny precision, slipping through fire like dancers. Alien missiles detonated against decoys. Energy beams struck empty space, as if the humans knew where the shots would land before they were fired. "They are reading us," Admiral Trelvac whispered in horror. "They know our every move." Human counterfire erupted. Dreadnought cannons roared. Carriers launched swarms of drones that darted into enemy formations, tearing apart cruisers from within. Boarding pods slammed into alien hulls, disgorging black-armored marines who fought with brutal efficiency. Within minutes, entire council squadrons broke under the assault. The fortress shook as its outer stations fell one by one. The Serathi commander on the council feed shouted in alarm. Their ships should not be this strong. How can one dreadnought destroy a station in a single volley? Admiral Kane's voice cut through the chaos, carried across intercepted channels. You armed us. You taught us. You left your weapons in our skies, your soldiers in our cities. We learned from every invasion, every strike, every humiliation. We turned your own power into ours. This is the doctrine of humanity. To survive, to rise, to strike. The alien commanders listened in fury, but fear gripped their hearts. Kane spoke not like a desperate defender, but like a conqueror. On the battlefield, the humans pressed harder. Alien fleets tried to regroup, but every attempt fell into ambush. It was as if the humans knew the Council playbook by heart. Inside the fortress itself, alarms screamed as planetary shields flickered. Human strike teams had infiltrated key nodes, disabling defenses from within. Commanders shouted for reinforcements, but reinforcements could not arrive fast enough. In orbit, the Retribution loomed closer, its guns glowing with power. Alien dreadnoughts converged, determined to bring it down. They fired in unison, a storm of energy that could have vaporized a moon. The smoke cleared. The Retribution still stood. Its shields shimmered, battered but unbroken. Slowly, its guns recharged, humming with unstoppable energy. Council commanders gasped in disbelief. They are not fighting to win this battle, the Sarathi delegate realized. They are fighting to show us they cannot be stopped. And then the humans proved her right. With one colossal strike, the Retribution fired its main cannon. A Council battleship 3 kilometers long was split in half. Another blast erased an entire station. Panic spread through the fortress fleets. Ships turned to flee, their discipline shattered. Admiral Kane's voice returned one final time during the battle. This is not conquest. This is message. For every city you burned, for every promise you broke, for every life you stole, this is only the beginning. The Council fortress began to collapse. Fleets scattered. Stations burned. The impossible had happened. Arvanis, the greatest fortress outside the core, was falling. But then new alarms cut through the chaos. Long-range sensors detected a new fleet entering the system. Not human. Council reinforcements, and at the center of this fleet was something different. A weapon hidden for centuries. A weapon the Council swore never to use. The chamber in the Council core filled with silence as the readings confirmed it. The Council had unleashed their doomsday weapon. Earth under fire. The Battle of Arvanis raged on, but far across the stars, a second nightmare began. On Earth, the skies lit up with fire. Civilians looked upward as streaks of light cut through the clouds. They were not comets. They were Council weapons. Massive warheads fell from orbit, aimed at the cradle of humanity itself. Children clung to their parents. Soldiers scrambled into bunkers. Sirens wailed across ruined cities that had already suffered once before. Now the Council was trying to finish what it had started 50 years ago. The Galactic Council had made its choice. If they could not crush humanity's fleets, they would burn its homeworld. From orbit, alien super-dreadnoughts hung over Earth like predators. Their commanders shouted into comms, voices cold and merciless. Erase them. Leave no survivors. End Earth forever. The first bombardments began. Beams of energy split the sky, leveling mountains, boiling seas, reducing whole districts to ash. Humanity's heartland shook as explosions thundered across continents, but Earth was not defenseless. Not anymore. From deep beneath the oceans, hidden vaults stirred. Massive doors opened, releasing titanic machines that had slumbered for decades. Planetary defense cannons, taller than skyscrapers, rose from the waves. Their barrels glowed with power as they locked onto the orbiting alien fleet. The first shot cracked the heavens. A single beam erupted upward, slicing through an enemy battleship in one strike. The wreck fell blazing into the atmosphere, scattering fire across the Pacific. On every continent, more cannons emerged. Forests split apart as missile silos rose. Frozen tundras shook as hidden railguns powered up. Humanity had not only rebuilt its fleets in silence, it had rebuilt Earth itself into a fortress world. The alien commanders reeled in shock. This is impossible. Their world should have been broken. How could they build this under our watch? The answer was clear. Humanity had hidden its defenses where no one looked. Under oceans, beneath ruins, inside the very bones of Earth itself. In the streets, human soldiers rallied. Black armored divisions marched into position, weapons ready. Fighters roared into the sky, streaking past burning skyscrapers to intercept alien bombers. Civilians fled underground bunkers, guided by emergency drones. But the alien fleet pressed harder. Their weapons cut into the planet, shaking Earth to its core. For every alien ship destroyed, more descended from orbit. The night sky burned red with the light of war. In the council chamber, delegates watched the feeds in grim silence. Even they were horrified by the order they themselves had approved. The Sarathi delegate's voice shook. "We did not want this. We wanted their fleets destroyed, not their world," the High Speaker hissed back, rage drowning his fear. "Earth is their heart. If we burn it, they will break. Without their home, their fury dies." But deep down, many knew the truth. Humanity's fury did not die. It grew. On Earth, amid the fire, the human broadcast returned. The hollow filled with Admiral Elias Kane's scarred face. His voice was iron. "You dare strike our home again. You dare burn the world that gave us life. And you think this will break us." Behind him, the screens showed Earth's defense grid firing in unison, cutting through alien fleets with relentless power. "Entire squadrons fell in flames. You are wrong," Kane said. "Every shot you fire only makes us stronger. Every life you take only fuels our fury. You cannot erase Earth. You cannot erase humanity. We are more than a world. We are a people. And we will rise from the ashes again and again, until you are the ones who vanish." The chamber shook with his words. Then the feed revealed something the Council had not expected. Not all of Earth's defenses were planetary. In orbit, hidden among the debris of old satellites, massive human battle platforms powered up. Once thought to be dead relics, they had been rebuilt into orbital fortresses. They opened fire, unleashing storms of missiles and beams that tore through the alien blockade. For the first time, the attackers faltered. Their perfect bombardment wavered. Their fleets fell back under the combined fire of Earth's hidden arsenal, but Earth was still burning. Millions were dead. Cities smoldered. Oceans boiled. Humanity was fighting back, but the cost was heavy. And then, just as hope returned, new alarms filled the council chamber. Reports came in from Earth's orbit. A massive energy signature had been detected, far greater than any fleet, far greater than any dreadnought. The council's forbidden weapon had arrived, an ancient warship. A relic from before the Council's founding, emerged from hyperspace above Earth. Its hull stretched longer than continents. Its weapons glowed with the power of a star. The Sarathi delegate gasped in horror. They brought it here. They swore never to use it. The Doomsday Ark. On Earth, people looked up in silence as its shadow fell across the skies. Admiral Kane's voice cut one last time through the chaos. "Humanity does not fear your gods or your monsters. Fire your ark and see if we do not endure." The screen went black and the ark began to charge. The final broadcast. The Doomsday Ark hung above Earth like a black sun. Its hull was so vast that it blocked out the stars. Its cannons glowed with power stolen from dying suns, each weapon strong enough to shatter planets. The Galactic Council had broken its own sacred law. In desperation, it had unleashed its ultimate weapon. Panic spread across Earth. Civilians huddled in bunkers. Soldiers stared upward in silence, their faces pale in the light of the Ark's charging guns. Even the mighty orbital platforms paused their fire, as if the entire planet was holding its breath. In the fortress system of Arvanis, Admiral Kane watched from the bridge of the Retribution. The human fleet had shattered Council defenses, but now victory tasted like ash. The Ark was too powerful. His ships could not return to Earth in time. For the first time in decades, silence filled his heart. But then, he looked at the old flag hanging above his command chair. Earth's colors. Humanity's legacy. He would not let it end here. "Open the channel," Kane ordered. Across the stars, the broadcast lit every screen once again. His scarred face appeared calm and steady. "This is Admiral Elias Kane of Earth. To every human, stand firm. To every alien who still has a soul, watch what comes next." The Ark began its first strike. Energy gathered in its colossal cannon, brighter than the sun. Earth's skies burned with the glow. Oceans boiled in anticipation. The end had arrived, but the shot never landed. From deep within Earth, something stirred. A signal pulsed across hidden networks. Old codes, older than the Council itself. Unlocked vaults buried beneath mountains. The planet itself roared. From the oceans rose not just cannons, but entire fortress ships. Massive black vessels, hidden for generations, launched into the sky. Their engines ignited the seas. From the lunar surface, hidden arrays came alive, firing beams of pure light into the Ark's shields. Mars, once thought abandoned, revealed concealed rail platforms that tore into the Ark's escorts. Humanity had prepared for this moment all along. Kane's voice thundered through the broadcast. You believed Earth was only a world. You never understood. Earth is the forge. Humanity is the fire. And we do not burn alone. The Ark fired its first shot at last. A beam of pure destruction lanced toward Earth. Mountains melted. Clouds vaporized. For a heartbeat it seemed Earth would crack, but the beam met resistance. Dozens of fortress ships intercepted, sacrificing themselves. Orbital platforms bent their shields to absorb the strike. Entire continents shook, but Earth endured. The Ark charged again. This time humanity struck first. The Retribution and its fleet warped into orbit, engines screaming from the impossible jump. They had abandoned the ruins of Arvanis, leaving the Council fleets in chaos to return home at the last possible second. The human fleet launched everything. Missiles blacked out the sky. Railguns fired with thunder that shook the void. Drones swarmed like locusts. Boarding pods slammed against the Ark's hull. Alien commanders screamed in disbelief. They cannot win. That ship is eternal. But on the Ark's hull, human marines carved their way inside. Deck by deck, corridor by corridor, they fought with fury born of survival. In the Ark's command core, alien officers panicked as human soldiers burst through doors in a storm of fire. One soldier planted a beacon, another activated it. Back on the Retribution, Kane gave the final order. Now, from deep space, a hidden signal activated. The beacon lit up. The Ark's shields wavered. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Ark was vulnerable. The Retribution's main cannon charged. Every surviving human ship poured its fire into the same point. The Ark screamed. Its colossal hull cracked. Energy flared out of control. Alien commanders begged for retreat, but it was too late. The Ark imploded, collapsing under the weight of its own stolen suns. A blinding flash filled the system, brighter than any dawn. When the light faded, the Ark was gone. Silence followed. Silence across Earth, silence across the Council chamber, silence across the galaxy. And then Kane's voice returned, calm but unyielding. This is humanity's final broadcast. You wanted peace. We begged for it. You denied us. You wanted obedience. We refused. You wanted war. You brought it to our home. And in doing so, you unleashed our fury. He leaned forward, eyes burning like fire. Know this, Council. Earth still stands. Humanity still stands. And if you ever come for us again, we will not stop at defense. We will come for you. We will end you. This is your only warning. Remember Arvanis. Remember Earth. Remember humanity. The broadcast cut. Across the galaxy, trillions watched in silence. Some felt fear, others felt hope. And many in secret felt something dangerous, inspiration. The age of human submission was over. The age of humanity had begun.